and RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's doing fantastic. Hope you're having a great day. Lost my CD, the one I used to use. I know, old-fashioned CD. I could do it digitally, but where's the fun in that? I have like a spool of CDs that I've got to use. That being said, so I had to find some new songs, and they're, I don't know, a couple of them are decent. I don't like them as much. Whatever the heck, we'll figure it out. We'll get somewhere. Hope everybody's doing good. Happy Saturday. We've had a busy weekend last week. First off, want to remind everybody, let's get some questions ready for those of you that are already here. Neville, good morning. Got Jesse S in here. People hop in early. I love it. We got Swag Yusuf. Hello, good morning. Janvi Vardy. Hope I'm saying that close to right. Derek, good morning, sir. We got Kay Kutcher. Hello, Kay. Del, what's up, man? Ken, you are sunshine, man. Shush. Shoot. All right, and then we got Dennis Casey. Good stuff. Thanks for joining us. A slightly slow start this morning. It's interesting. I like it. Anywho, we're going to start off with a quick little something I wanted to talk about, especially for those that maybe play this back afterwards. We had a situation that seemed to kind of play out last weekend that there was an individual in the class or in the room that had some thoughts, had some feelings, and threw kind of a statement out there, a point, kind of it's fun discussion. Certainly could do many videos on it. And people have their opinions and feelings about how it's best to resolve situations. And one thing I kind of want to remind people when it comes to helping others, teaching, advice, giving, when it comes to these sorts of practices, one of the best things to keep in mind is that others are where they're at in their understanding, their beliefs, their concept of what's real matters most. So if somebody, say for example, is super duper Christian, super religious, goes to church a lot, very into the Bible and all that stuff, and I start talking to him about how you got this higher self and he's off in the universe with Source and they're hanging out, well, that instantly right off the bat puts these people off. It doesn't work. It's a horrible approach to someone that is that way. And thusly, the other side of that, if someone's very, very spiritual, very of universe, Source, Mother, Father, God, all this stuff, right? When you come at them with real heavy biblical verses and hit them up with how Christ died for you and all those kinds of things, well, they turn you off and done like a bad TV show. So the trick is always to understand your audience. Now, from a standpoint of a YouTuber like myself, it's very challenging because there's a huge swath of different people that listen to my show. And I like to try to be as inclusive as I can. But at the same time, it produces a problem where there's people that fall into different categories, different sects, different colors of the rainbow, if you will. And if I don't speak broad enough, or if I don't try to cover all the colors during videos, sometimes these people, I can lose them. And ultimately, if you're trying to help somebody, or like me, trying to make a difference, right? If that's ultimately where your heart's at, which I'll say that in the conversation that happened last week, without a doubt, everybody's hearts, I think, were in the right place. I don't think there was one person that was trying to help that wasn't literally coming at it from a space of love. So even when your intentions are good, if you fail to notice that what you're trying to say isn't working, or that the intended consequences aren't happening, or it doesn't seem to be getting through, it's best to try to alter the angle at which you come at somebody, or at least that does make you a more effective helper. Being very blunt and black and white about how it is might work perfectly for you, but might not work perfectly for someone else. One example I want to give, and then we'll get into questions. So I hope you guys got questions. There's a few people in here now, so if you guys have any questions or anything you'd like to share, there's something that was mentioned here. We'll talk about what you were talking about, Neville. We'll get into that for sure. But one thing that kind of ties into the way helping others, the way that we are all a little different. There was an individual that I got to know. He was a salesperson that worked for a company called Brighton. They sell women's stuff. A lot of the women out there probably know more about it than I do. But he was a salesperson, a senior executive. I mean, this guy made bank. He made a lot of money. he got in a little bit of a fight with an individual that was a new boss, had a little disagreement, I think in person on one phone call or something, and it was pretty, I don't know, mundane. It wasn't that big a deal. Well, come to find out the very next day, he got fired. So obviously it was a much larger deal than he'd realized. This changed his entire life. It affected a lot of things for him. So what he did is he got involved with a group of people that were selling a product that's of a pyramid nature. It's just the way the product structure works. I don't want to say who they are because I don't really want to plug them or possibly upset anyone that likes them. But he got involved with this very large company, and he was liking what he was doing. And he saw that, yeah, I can make money off this business. It's a great business structure. It's people would come in and they'd get these shakes, and these shakes have this stuff in it that you make and that this company produces. And they drink these shakes, good for your health, blah, blah, blah. And they do this day in and day out. They can't really promote the fact that they're selling this product, right? But anyway, that's how their business model works. So he opens up his own store. He knew me through his son at a coffee shop that I worked at with him. And I'm an awesome salesman. This guy had seen me in action a dozen times. I mean, dozens of times, I should say. Seen me in action. He knew I knew my stuff. He knew I could sell pretty much anything to anybody if I believe in it. And his idea was to have me help them build their company. Now, his business model was that I would somehow get commissions off of any people that I brought into the pyramid. Meaning, I'm now working for a pyramid company, but I'm now giving labor for free with the hopes of getting sort of commission through other sales. Like I need to be hustling all the time trying to talk people into this product. And I'm not into that. And so this guy is an amazing salesman. I don't believe his technique for manifesting my help was bad in any way, shape, or form. But I wasn't open to his desires. I wasn't open to the possibility of making money from this avenue. I'm just not open to it. I mean, it's like, a crazy example. Crime, right? Not open to making money in crime either. So again, it's the same concept as some of us aren't open to certain paths. And someone can try to manifest that all they want against us. Again, some could say maybe it's him pushed out. I don't really buy that from that standpoint. He's an amazing salesperson, had a wonderful family, very successful. I don't think he's doing anything wrong. I just wasn't open to it. So he found other people, other actors, as I frequently talk about, how they're people that come into our little plays and movies. So other actors were coming in and fulfilling that role, and I didn't. And I got to go in my merry way and do what I'm into and interested in, and I'm making extra funds in my own way. So sometimes it's important to understand that we all walk to the beat of a different drummer. We're all motivated by different things. And when you're trying to assist somebody who's maybe struggling seeing a certain way, such as by talking about something a lot, I do put power towards it. I do keep it alive within myself. When trying to make a point about how there's certain things in the world, and, for an example, a child that gets abused, is that child pushed out against these others? I mean, you start to get into some tough questions. And they are a challenge, especially for the people that are very adamant about everyone is you pushed out and all that. I don't say that a lot. I know everyone else does. I know a lot of the YouTubers do. I understand the concept, and for the most part, I agree with it. I don't like the statement. I think the statement is very black and white, and I just don't believe that everything falls into that black and white category. I remember when I was studying for the SATs when I was younger, and we took a little class to try to make us better at test taking. And for any of you out there that are in college and all this stuff, you probably know what I'm about to share. But generally speaking, when you're taking a multiple choice test, one of the things you really want to be able to try to do, if you can, is at least eliminate one or two of the answers. And if you can get it down to a 50-50, now a guess is actually pretty good. You got pretty good chances that you'll be right, because you've already eliminated 25%, 25%, right? So all that's left is these 2 of 4. Boom, not bad. One of the things you use to eliminate answers is oftentimes the use of everything, always, never, these very strong binary terms, these very either yes or either no terms. When in reality, most of the time, life kind of tends to fall more into those shades of gray. Sometimes really dark gray, sometimes really light gray, but still not totally white, not totally black. It's just good to remember that when we're approaching trying to help people, try to come at it from a more open standpoint. Ask questions. See where they're at. Try to see if you can get an understanding and foundation from where your audience is at, and then try to approach them with your message, but tailored in a way that might make more sense to them, something I would consider. That's it. That was all I had. That was my little soapbox. I hope everyone's doing good. Again, I'm sure that there's some differences and some of the people aren't here. We'll see who all's showing up. I see some familiar names, which is very nice to see. So yeah, let me just kind of run through, see some of the extra people that jumped in. Stu A, nice to see you, pretty girl. Welcome. Alfredo Valencia. Peter Cass, cool, nice. Let's see, Lori's in here. Lori Mortimer, you've been around a while. I like that. Falguni Katri. Hi, Dan. Hope you're doing great. I want to be famous singer and super rich doing that. I'm keeping my juices flowing by singing, but that just keeps putting mine to manifestation of it. Any advice? Keep my juices flowing by singing. Well, keep pushing towards it first off. Like, keep holding the dream of being that famous singer. I think anybody that's ever made it in any of the arts, I mean, I watched that. Rocket Man's an interesting movie, and Elton John even, and he was an amazing, very gifted person still trying to figure out, how do I get into this business? Keep at it. When I was a DJ, it was hard. You're on the outside and you're trying to get into it. Once you finally do, it's all because of perseverance. It's all because of holding the image. It's all because of holding the dream, holding that vision, keeping your conscious and subconscious aligned. Every time you're like, I can do this. I'm going to be a singer. I'm going to be performing in front of people. I love singing. I enjoy performing. I'm going to be very successful at this. Keep telling your conscious mind this. It'll get your subconscious in line, right? Your whole crew, your ship's going to run around and take care of business for you. And when you do that, you're going to find that success follows. That shifting, I have found that's been the thing I've been playing with a lot lately, and that shift has played the biggest difference just in changing how I feel, this period. And then the moving forward is much, much easier because now I'm in a good state. I'm happy. I'm in a great place. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. I allow the unfolding. Being so fixated on that, I need to be making all the money. I need to be, it's a journey. It's not like necessarily getting that one video that goes viral. Like, it's a journey. You want to expand. You want to grow. You want to become this. And be honest with you, a lot of the things that are really worthwhile in life seem to have a little bit of a curve to get into them. And sometimes it's almost like, how bad do you want it? And if you want it, and if you truly desire it, you'll get it, I assure you. But you have to stay focused on it. And you can't let the, I don't have it yet, or any of that kind of silliness stop you. Get out there and sing. Try to get gigs. Even if you're singing in a bowling alley, you're singing someplace. Make a difference. Try to get out there, and it does help. It just gets you doing it. Expands. The more time you spend on stage, the more time you sing in front of people, the better you get at it. Hope that helps. Girls Diary, nice to see you in here as well. Can you give some tips on how not to miss someone? Stop feeling lacking emotions. Well, you can focus on being with them, or you really, truly kind of can focus on, I've talked about hobbies. We talk about keeping busy. I don't know if they're going to show up or if you're trying to get over them. If it's a trying to get over sort of issue, you just got to try to stop thinking of them altogether. Remove anything that reminds you of them from your view. Like, literally, take pictures down, like, if that's what you want. If not, then it's going to be an issue of holding that image of whatever it is when you're together. And anytime you want to be together, instead of missing him, be with him in your mind. Imagine, hold him, be with him, smell him. Then you are for that moment with him. He's very much in this world. You can communicate with him telepathically, if you will, or thought transmission. So if you want to kind of incorporate that, maybe get on phone calls. It depends on where you're coming at from it. Again, if it's a total transition, moving on, I'd close the door. Don't look back. It's just really, it's impossible to do because it's very, very hard. Breakups and all that kind of stuff are tough. If it's something more of there's just distance between you at the moment, well, then again, you're still trying to manifest this, right? There's a space and time where you two are together. Keep holding that. Keep being there. Experience that. That makes it more and more real. And that experience at that moment is real. It's not fake. It seems imaginary. It seems like you're make-believing, but that's actually a form of reality. Truly is. And the parts of your brain that are doing it versus the parts that happen in real life, it's amazing how this stuff plays out. Long story short, you're doing more help by imagining being with him and spending time with him than not. So you don't necessarily try not to experience things. You decide, what would you like to experience in place of it? So that would be the question I would ask you is, what do you want to feel? Right? Like right now, I miss him. Okay, well, do you want to feel like you're in love? You want to feel like I got something to do right now? Like, what do you want to do? Because ultimately, you don't want to feel like that. I understand that, but you can't just say, I don't want something. Well, what do you want? So let's think about what you do want. Let's take steps towards that and see. Maybe things start to play out and pan out and kind of get to where you want them to get if you take some steps in the right direction. Again, conscious, subconscious. When you get your conscious mind going in the right place, again, I talk about the ship and the crew, right? And standing up and saying, crew, this is what I think you should do because this is what I believe about myself. And the crew's like, yes, doesn't matter if you say good things or bad things about yourself. They support whatever you just said. So say good things. Get yourself in a line. Get your consciousness and then get your crew in line with your captain and make sure that you're actually sailing where you want to go. Wow, that's just right an analogy to the very bitter end. Love it. Lisa Marie, welcome. Where'd we go? There we go. Let's see. Sonia loves. Hello. Bethany Pithen, I think. Probably. Who knows? The unjust steward. Sorry. Kevin. Oh, the unjust steward, Kevin. Hi, Dan. I love it. Trisha Taylor's here. Miss Hall, nice to see you as well. Christine Evans. Hi, guys. Last minute made it. That's awesome. 11:11. Cool. So what are you, East Coast? Is that where you are? You must be. Apple Thora of me. That's fantabulous. I desire love because I am love. Okay, well, that's awesome. You are love, and thusly you will attract it anyways, because wherever you go, there you are. That's a fantastic way to see it, too. Christine, awesome. All right, let's see. Trisha, I tuned in just at the right time to have a big singing production coming up in June. Yay! Hey, by the way, someone was just talking about that, right? So I don't know if you heard all that, but that's pretty auspicious or pretty coincidental, wouldn't you say? Because there was 2 people asking about singing careers in the same moment. Oh my goodness. I love the way it works out. Stu A. I have a hard time visualizing things. The apple is an example often used. My mind recalls a picture of an apple that I've seen. However, I'm really good at remembering voices, so I try to use that. I've done that too, but I don't know, I'm not as good visually. Like, it really bothers, like, my mom and my brother both were excellent. They could draw, and they could do all this great stuff. I can't draw. I can see the picture. I can see what I want to do, making it happen. When I actually go to draw it, it just ends up looking like an old lady's face when it was like, well, that was supposed to be a car, right? Like, it's not even close. It's like, it sucks. So I'm the same way. Voices have always been a thing for me. Words, spoken, sound, music, like all that type of stuff has always been a big deal to me. It's funny, I was just watching a Queen video when he did his Farm Aid. If anyone wants to see an awesome thing, there was actually where they compared the movie to the actual live performance. Man, it was identical. Anyway, it was fantastic. It made me cry. I was like tearing. Anyway, I love music, so I feel you, bro. If it works for you, go with it. Do the audio thing. Listen to it. Hear yourself doing it, and you will find that, it works better for you. Some people, they can very much see it. So it's just ultimately trying to get yourself to feel it. What do you think about the feeling of jealousy, competition, comparison? Love it. Great question, Del. And I love the fact that it's so important you say it twice. It's kind of like mahi. The fish is so good, they named it twice. I think the same is going on with you, Del. So you bring up a great question. What is going on with concepts of jealousy, competition, and comparisons? All of those are limiting thoughts. They're lack thoughts. They're this nature where others are going to get the spoils if I don't get out there and get them before them. But that's not how it works. That would be like me looking at all the other YouTubers that do law of attraction videos and be like, oh my God, he's got 24,000 views and it's been out for 4 seconds, and be like bummed. But why? Like, he's got a great message that 24,000 people 4 seconds ago have enjoyed. That's fantastic. And mine will grow as it grows. And I affect who I affect. But to look at it from a standpoint of, he's got so much more than me. No, he's doing what he's doing. And he's doing it well. I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm happy doing what I'm doing. So that's the whole thing, is, are you enjoying the process that you're on? Because if you're constantly looking around and going, I've got to have more than him, you're constantly looking outward. You're constantly looking at what you don't have. You're focused on all the wrong things. Stay inside. What am I trying to do? Where are you trying to go? Who cares what anyone else has? If people close around you or have the thing that you desire and you don't yet, that's awesome. That means it's close to you. That means it's really, really close to you. It's almost like, I don't know, kind of the way I imagine it. Maybe you can go with me for a second here, but like, imagine a sphere, and it's kind of that wobbly glass, right? You can kind of see through it. You can kind of tell it's a force field. It's like, right? And it's a little blurry on the other side. And imagine it coming in closer to you, like you can see it getting closer and closer on all sides. And imagine like you've got friends in this big bubble, right? And as this thing you're manifesting gets closer and closer to you, and as that bubble comes in closer and closer, it starts hitting some of your friends outside of yourself. Bloop, and it envelops them. Suddenly now they've got relationships, and it hits your next friend. Bloop, and now they've got a relationship. And finally it hits you. And you're in that same world. You're in that same reality. That's kind of how I envision it. Like, it's happening. It's coming in. That's awesome that it's close. and hopefully kind of helps you see that your success is probably a lot closer than you realize. So comparing yourself, bad, because what others have, it's great. Look at it and go, yeah, I'd like to have that too, and have it. Don't covet another person's stuff, right? As it says in the Christian Bible, right? Like, you don't want to be trying to get other people's stuff. That's not cool. Competition, I mean, unless you need that to progress, some guys are like that. We compete with one another. That is kind of a way that some of us evolve and grow. Understand that they're not you and all that, right? Like, I mean, if you need it kind of for that healthy push, then so be it. Sports are very competitive. So there's parts of competition that I think can benefit one another, but the concept of it is somewhat bad. So you may help me with that one a little bit. Outside of that, jealousy is horrible. Stay away from jealousy. There's no reason to be jealous about anything or anybody. Understand that everything that happens and you're creating in life comes from within you. So if you see something outside of yourself that you'd like and don't have, make sure you're doing stuff inside of yourself. Make sure you're aligning your conscious and subconscious. I've got this. I'm doing this. I'm growing this. This is becoming. This is me. Whatever words work for you. I just put a video out this morning that talked about a really cool mantra, and it was example Dr. Joseph Murphy shared. And it's awesome. It's just a great little paragraph. And that concept, if you can say that 5, 10, 15 times a day, just that concept, you will be amazed at what starts to happen in your world as you align your conscious and subconscious. I'm telling you, I've been messing with this a lot for the past 3 weeks, and I've seen huge changes in all sorts of places. Again, I don't like to get specific about my personal manifestations right now because it's a bad idea to talk about it. So I don't, and I'm not going to, but things are definitely expanding, and it's very, very cool, and I'm enjoying it. So hopefully that works. All right, something's going on here. Wow, you are speaking my language. Awesome. Thank you, Applethora. Michael, my lord, Pelobosian, I guess. Pelobosian? I swear it feels like a bad word from some biology class. A specific person and I have been fighting like a married couple, and I'm just confused on what I should do. Well, I mean, first off, relationships are real life, man. That's the thing. A lot of the times arguments happen because we're not listening to one another. Like, I don't care what manifestation techniques you want to talk about. If you're not listening to somebody, you're going to have relationship problems, period. Like, you can, no, you love me. No, you love me. It's like, you just don't listen to me. No, you love me. No, it's like, I'm not listening to you right now. You're right. I don't listen to you. That's the problem. She wants to be listened to. So understand, there's an argument to be made about what's being said. So I would very much make sure that all sides are being heard. If there's a side of this that's coming from you, is it from an angle of insecurity? Are you being sort of strange? Are you being needy? Where's your energy at in this whole situation? Is that why this argument's occurring? You must look inward to what's going on. Relationships between people are two people that are vibrating at a certain energy coming together. If my energy is way different than your energy, it's going to feel weird. And we're going to have issues. Things like this manifest. You'll manifest arguments. You'll just not want to be with each other. You'll first look at them and be like, dude, they're ugly. I've known a number of people, and it's happened to me even, where the first time you see somebody is really weird, and then you'll see them like, I don't know, a couple weeks later. And it's just in a different light. I don't know, like the sun shined on you weird the first time I saw you. And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, everything seems cool. And it's almost like the first time you saw them, they were in a funk or something. And it just didn't look good. So understand that our energy is who we are. And when we present ourselves to somebody, if we're not in a good place personally, that's how we come across. And so, yeah, arguments can happen. They're part of relationships, mind you, at least discussions and having moments where maybe you don't see eye to eye and having to learn to discuss and talk about things, which unfortunately is something that we as society are getting really bad at right now. You're either on this side or this side, and there's no in between anymore, and we can't talk about it. So again, it's affecting relationships without a doubt. So relationships have to be discussed. It's not one side or the other. It's really in the middle. It's a compromise. That helps keep relationships and friends closer together than else. So try to maybe ask some questions, listen more. They always say you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Keep those things in mind, and hopefully that kind of makes a difference for you. Stu, I've also realized I'm a bit afraid to commit to desire in case it never comes. Kind of crazy. I just recently did a video. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Goddard. Was talking about no, it was actually some other lady. I linked it was a TEDx that someone shared it with me. It was really awesome. She talked about how the reason a lot of people, they think about winning the lotto. Let's take 6 steps back. They think about winning the lotto. A lot of people do. I'm going to win the lotto one day. But she said, all right, now keep your hands up if you've actually bought a lotto ticket at the last lotto. And like almost everybody's hands went down. And the reason people don't buy lotto tickets is because they have an expectation that they won't win. And so what happens is you create a situation so you don't win. Your expectation creates your, either A, it creates your reality, B, it creates your opportunities or things that will pop up, things you're aware of, things you notice. It will affect that. And your expectation will cause your conscious mind to think a certain way. So if your expectation's of a good nature, I'm going to win the lotto and I actually expect to win someday, I'm going to buy a lotto ticket. Maybe just one. I might just buy one. That's all you need, right? Just need one. I don't need to buy 20 of them. But I might buy one, every single lotto. You know why? Because I expect to win someday. And the only way I can win is to have a lotto. But if I don't expect to win ever, I'm never going to buy the lotto. I might think in my mind I want to be a lotto millionaire. Maybe someday someone will buy a lotto ticket and hand it to me and it'll happen to be the winner. But that person's going to be pissed, right? Right? Can you imagine how they're going to feel like I just gave you a $70 million lotto ticket? I thought it was trash. I didn't even look at it. Oh, crap. Right? Like how bad do you feel? So keep it in mind that your expectations of failing are going to continue to show you failure. When you realize I have a desire, and Goddard also talks about how desires are gifts, and I agree with this. Desires are, so here's the thing. We have our lives, and we look out into our lives and we're like, I want to move. I don't like my life. I don't like the city I live in. I'd like to be in a better relationship. I'd like to be in a relationship. Like something about life that you would like to expand. All of us have some sort of desire. And what that desire represents is that soul part of yourself that's like, okay, here's the direction we need to go right now. And then they kind of elbow you and you're like, oh yeah, dating someone would be cool. And all of a sudden that becomes your focus. Desires lead to your next step. There's something that you're trying to manifest in life. Your desires are leading you to it. That's why when you get your conscious and subconscious aligned, it's amazing what happens because now your desires are in line. Now, if your expectations or beliefs fail to align with your desires, then what starts to happen is you start to feel kind of cruddy. You feel depressed, you feel sad, you feel like you're missing out on something, and really it's your soul screaming at you saying, you're not doing what I need you to do. When you have a desire and you finally follow your heart, as they always say, and you realize in an expectant form, or your expectations, if you will, I don't want to make it sound like cough medicine, but in an expectant kind of form, I think it's expectorant, anyway, if you expect success because your desires and you're following your heart, and that's always worked for me, that's what I think. When I go about life that way, it always works out. Always does. It's because I expect it to. And that's why it does. So keep your expectations in alignment with your desires. You will be amazed at where you end up. If you don't, and you're welcome to do that, I suspect you're not going to see as good a success as you might want. That's all I'm suggesting. There we go. Balia7449, hello from Greece. Is the time, is the place, is the motion. We feel like you have done enough. When you're at a place you feel good about yourself, even though your manifestations aren't here yet, it's letting go the answer, thank you. Kinda, yeah. I think a lot of the times when we hold on to the result of the manifestation, I just did a video that was not popular, but I still think it's a great message. But life's not a cul-de-sac, man. Your manifestation's not a stopping point. It's not a dead end. You're gonna travel through it. It's like a cross street, right? So when we see it more as this is the direction I'm heading, this is what's unfolding, rather than I don't have this endpoint yet, I haven't made it to mile marker 74 yet. Like, don't see it so much like the destination, but understand that even back at mile marker 58, there was that cool sign on the side of the road. Do you remember seeing that? Like, there's more to this journey than just the destination. And oftentimes the destination is meant to bring a lot of other things in alignment within ourselves. Understandings, focuses, beliefs, like really meant to kind of try to bring it together for us. And it's an outward thing that we can focus towards that helps create a bunch of inward change. It's kind of a backwards way to go about it, but it works. So we put ourselves in that place. We create a stepping stones back to where we are right now in space-time. And we begin walking down that path. letting go sometimes, in my mind anyways, is like, yeah, I'm walking on the path. Let's see what the next step is. Yeah, that's where I'm going, but I'll get there when I do. It honestly doesn't seem like it's super close right now. How it is how it is, but I understand that I know I'm still going towards it, and I know that things are unfolding, and that maybe I just walk through like that mantra I was talking about in the video that released this morning. Like I start going through that in my mind. I just say it. I'm like, no, everything's working. Everything. And again, for the last 3 weeks, this has been working really, really well for me. So walking through, kind of just making sure you're keeping your conscious and subconscious aligned, you will find that it's easier to allow the unfolding to happen and especially when you're enjoying the process a little more than just being very focused on the fact that I'm not to Disneyland yet, right? Like, let it happen. Violet's good morning, Vietnam. It's not a test, it's rock and roll. I love that. Was one of my favorite movies, by the way. And yes, it did definitely play a part. And God bless his soul, Miss Robin Williams. What a great man he was. Anyway, love that analogy. Good for you, captain of my captain. Stylish dad. Dude, word on you, buddy. Very stylish. I love that. Glad I could finally make a live video. I'm glad you're here too, sir. If you got any questions, throw them out there. If not, just be a part of the joy and the fun. I have a captain, my dog's name. Never a coincidence. That is pretty cool. Yeah, that's actually very cool. Captain's a very interesting name for that. I feel like that was the name of Gone in 60 Seconds. I forgot what the dog's name was in that. It was kind of a funny name. Anyway, just popped in to say hello. Lisa Maria, nice to see you. Goodbye. Peace, word. And you can also explain what kind of actions should someone take in order to attract love or an SP. What kind of actions? Well, they frequently, Girls Diary, talk about to attract love in your life. One, I frequently, and I was just working with someone specifically around this, I frequently try to get someone to look at all the things they want from a relationship. So one of the suggestions I use is to write down, type out, whatever, even visually say it, whatever works, the top 20 things that you really want from a relationship. And I want you to see that list. I want you to think about that list. Then I want you to think about the top 20 things that you are relative to that. Because they always say you must be the thing that you want to attract. So you want more love, you must be love. There's no other way around it. Love attracts itself. Love attracts more love. Kindness attracts more kindness. Being mean to people attracts more meanness. Everything we send out bounces back on the wall like a super ball and comes back even harder, right? You chuck that thing and it's like, pow, and you're like, whoa, what the hell? I don't know if you guys have seen those super balls from like the 70s. It's like you smash and they bounce like forever up in the air. They'd go into orbit and you lose them. You'd lose them in the atmosphere. Yeah, they'd burn up coming down. They were fantastic times. But that being said, it helps when you get yourself to the place, when you imagine yourself being in it and feeling it. Like, what is it going to feel like when I'm in love with someone? I mean, I will say the honeymoon phase of love is an amazing feeling, and so many people love that. And some get very frustrated that the honeymoon is called the honeymoon for a reason. You could still have passion and joy and love and all that great stuff, but at the same time, it does change as you become more comfortable with anything. It's really neat when it's new. Disneyland for the first time is awesome, right? It's amazing. It is the coolest thing you'll ever experience probably in life. Just seriously, if you've never seen it and you go for the Grand Canyon would be like that. Like there's a lot of things that fall into that, but I know I talk about Disney a lot because it's like literally 15 minutes up the road. But I mean, I can hear the fireworks when it's foggy. That's what I'm talking about. So again, it's amazing, but the 50th time at Disneyland is still awesome. It's still a great trip, but it is nothing like the very first time you went. So a lot of things can play out like that. So again, experience, think about, write out the things you want, write out the things that you are. And if there's places and gaps where there's something I want in a relationship, but I'm basically not doing that right now or being that right now myself, or what does it mean to be that right now? Like, spend time looking at that list, spend time thinking about how you already are all 20 of those things you desire. And when you focus and think about that, just this exercise alone actually is extremely creative. Extremely creative. And then if you take that list and look at it at a daily basis, on a regular basis, daily, hourly, whenever the heck you need, focus on that and be that and know that that is what you're attracting. Know that that is what you're radiating right now. Know that when people look at you, they see this, wow, I want to talk to her. Like maybe I'm shy, but I still want to talk to that, a girl in a diary, or yeah, a girl's diary. I want to talk to her. She looks like a diary. I need to talk to her. So very important to radiate what it is that you desire, and you will attract it. What you send out comes back. It is just the way it works. It's that Super Bowl analogy. I hope that helps. Swag Yusuf, how about if you're insecure about your music voice? Well, then possibly take some voice lessons. 2, sometimes, and this, I will be honest. So this is let me share something small for a lot of you guys out there. So it's funny, as I've been radio like my whole life. I sang choir in high school. Like it was chamber choir. It was awesome. I was bass. It was cool bass, baritone. But singing in front of people live, doing a solo, anything crazy like that, no, hell no. Like, that's so ridiculous. That's so scary to me, because like the act of putting myself in front of people and letting them hear something that's so precious to me. I love singing. I love to sing, but it's precious to me. Like, it makes me feel good. It makes me cry sometimes. Like, I love it. It is such a soul release for me. And to put that in front of others and give them a chance to judge it, it's very challenging. Fortunately, the young lady I'm dating, the wonderful world I live in now, she's actually helped me get out of that a little bit. I was out visiting on a business trip in Texas. We were a little buzzed, and we were in a bar that was doing karaoke, and literally there was about 8 people in the bar. And I went and I sang my first karaoke song. And I did a Neil Diamond song. I went with a song I knew I could pull off, Sweet Caroline. Good song. Bow, bow, bow. Yeah, anyway, so I did that, and got a couple people that literally clapped. One of the dudes was singing with me in the audience. And from that started this whole thing where now I'm actually spending more time singing, at least in front of my girlfriend, not so much in front of others still, but doing it more, getting more comfortable with it, practicing more and more. And it was that moment of having others react to something that was special to me and having them say, no, yeah, this is cool, do this. And it helps. So that's my recommendation. I was super insecure about my voice, unquestionably, and I didn't want to be a singer. I love singing, but I didn't want to be a singer. And I still am doing it now too. Hopefully that helps. Namaste. I hope that makes a difference, because seriously, you got to get out there and do it. It's so important. NSPR8, hey Dan, we love what you were doing and love the impact on the verge of making. I'm on the verge of making. Do you have something that follows up? I don't see it. Awesome. You have the verge of making. You keep doing it, man. I love it. Yes. Okay. But what about a third party? Isn't that coveting, wanting something, your SP, that someone else already has? Lorna, it can be. If someone's currently married and they aren't necessarily saying they want a divorce, or at least going down that path. Hey, I've been on the same side of that many a time. And I'll tell you, we'll get to it. We'll cover that. So yes, if someone's in a situation where they're kind of happily married, or at least the spouse thinks they're happily married, and you're trying in some way to take from that, that generally does not create a good karmic energy flow. Also, I've been on that side I've been on both sides of that. And a lot of the times these people are missing something in their marriages, but don't want to leave their marriage, or maybe have a family, and just upsetting all that is a lot of confusion, when maybe a little something on the side is easier for them to do. Again, I'm not here to judge. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, and I don't believe that's ever the case. When it comes to law of attraction, it's like, what do you want? That's what you're manifesting. So that's what they're manifesting, and that's what they're choosing. Okay. And unfortunately, if you're that person that is manifesting someone like that, and it's been me before, I realized it was me desiring to have an experience with someone, but I didn't want to actually get too close. I didn't feel like I was open to a relationship. I wasn't at a place where I wanted all the stuff that went with it. Like, I just wanted a little bit of some company maybe, or whatever. And so I found that I was actually closed off to a real relationship. And so because of that, because of where I was, everyone says I was pushed out, but I mean, basically, because of that, that's where I was. That was the energy I was emanating. That was the super ball I was chucking against the wall. That's what I attracted. Someone who was willing to play that part. Someone who's like, yeah, I'm in a crappy marriage and let's have some fun. I'm attracted to you. And I'm like, dude, you're hot. Let's do this, right? So again, things can happen. Things can play out. But ultimately, you've got to look at where you're at, what you're open to, what you're attracting. And is this what you really want? Do you want to be the third party? Do you want to be the third leg of the stool? I mean, again, it's great. And I'm not saying don't. I've done this before. I've been on both sides of this. For me, it got to a point where, no, I actually want love. And it was when I finally realized that. that I attracted the wonderful person. Well, actually, I didn't even attract her. She was in front of me. I'd been talking to her for a year. And it just finally was like, hey, look at that. She's right here, right in front of me. And I hit her up. And we had a wonderful first date. Kind of funny story, but I'm not getting into it. But again, when I finally opened myself up to a real relationship, real love, something that I was actually interested in, it was unreal how my life changed. So look at what you're putting out. Look at what you're being. Don't so much look at trying to change the outer world to fit what's going on in your inner world now. Let the outer world repaint itself, if you will. It's kind of like a computer monitor, right? They refresh themselves. They repaint themselves 75 times a minute or a second, right? So if you keep repainting it, let it repaint. So change your inside thing, let it repaint. It might still be them, and now all of a sudden they want to leave their family, right? Again, things can play out. Just look at what's going on with you internally and what you're ready for. So Vinay is asking me if I understand Hindi. I've got a lot of Indian friends. I would not say by any stretch of the imagination I understand it. I know a little bit about it. I've got some stories where I've experienced it, but I've got some very close friends that I work with that are from India and are really aware of my show. In fact, we had a big, long discussion one night at a pool hall, a bunch of us, about what I'm doing. And Sid Guru, we talked about him. We talked about Sai Baba. We talked about a whole bunch of people. And it was actually a fascinating discussion. So I'm super fascinated with the Indian culture. It's actually one of my largest growing population segments on my channel. It's a fascinating culture, and I don't understand it by any means. I've talked to a lot of Indian people, and I understand that there's some different religions nonetheless anyway. And so Hindi, I've probably be the one I understand better than I forget the other one. Sorry, but yeah, I understand that one better, I think. But I still want to claim ignorance if I can. Do I push myself to act or wait for inspiration? Christine Evans, what I focus on is the act of what I'm trying to do. And so if there's something I've got in mind and then something kind of pops into my head as a good idea, then I do it. And I don't wonder whether or not it is. It's one of those things where follow my heart, right? And you just got to do it. Be wrong a couple times, be right a couple times, but you'll start to see it. You'll start to feel it. You'll start to get it. So do it. Whatever it is, do it. I don't know, but do it. I would say do it. How about run with it? I think you're going to be happy you did. Trust me. Miss Terry, well, either way, it'll be a good idea. You've got 3 singers here, Dan. Sweet. Miss Terry's in here as well. I tuned in right as you were talking about the first singer. That's so awesome. That's awesome. I love that. Look at that. All you guys. See? A bunch of you singers here together today. And then, the audience, there's 64 of you total, right? We're not talking like a bunch of us. We're just all chilling. We're just hanging out. It's a big chat room. Michael, what's going on, buddy? Thank you, Dan Radio. Thank you. Hey, you got me twice. Stu, hey, did I answer your question twice maybe? Oh, how will I know the difference between inspired action or impulse? For example, I randomly get urges to reach out to my SP. We are in no contact, but immediately after I start to question it. You're in sort of a tougher place right now, I would say, as far as trying to understand your feelings. I would start trying to keep your mind really focused on other things. Keep your manifestation in mind, do your techniques before you fall asleep, imagine from the end, feel it, the whole night. Do all that stuff, however often you're doing it, right? Keep that prescription the same. What I would recommend doing is trying to keep your mind focused on fun other things during the day. If you are doing that when stuff's popping into your head, I would do it. I would. If you're kind of there and you just start daydreaming, or all of a sudden they pop into your head and you think about their pretty eyes and that dress you like of theirs, and then you're like, wow, I should reach out to them. No, I don't think you should. So that would be the best help I can give on trying to assess impulses versus us wanting to reach out because we miss them. And that's where I feel like we get in danger sometimes. It's that wanting, I miss you. It's that neediness kind of energy when we come at it from that versus I love you and I just want to say hi. I'll tell you what feels very different, and I've done this before too, is I want them to respond back versus I love you, I just want to say hi. I don't personally give a crap if you respond back. Big difference between those two energies. And when you send that second text out, when you're like, hey, here you go, I just want to let you know I was thinking about you, you will be surprised how often you get a response back. If you do it to get a response back, it's amazing how often you don't get a response back, isn't it? That's the difference. How are you coming at this? That's the energy. It's really hard. It's not just the love. Oh, how do I feel? I feel love for them. No. Are you coming at them from a, ew? Are you coming at them from a, hey, right? There's a big difference between those two feelings, those two vibes. So work on making sure that what you're sending out, I call it thought transmissions. I should do another one of those videos. It's been a long time since I've done a thought transmission video, and that's one of my favorite topics. But yeah, what you're feeling and thinking whenever someone pops into your mind, how you feel about them, that just gets like Care Bears stared all over them. You just shoot gravy on them, and the gravy tastes like whatever you're feeling at that moment. Yeah, none of those things work, but have fun with them anyways. Anywho, all right, Rashad G. What's up, Dan? You were going to make another video on the fringe? I know I will. I know I need to do another one. I don't know if you guys have noticed, I've been doing a video a day on the Dan RadioStyle channel, and kind of made a decision back in December that I was definitely going to focus primarily on this one channel if I was going to put energy into anything. And I'm going to try to do the fringes when I can, because I love the idea of building that channel, and I certainly want to get it over 1,000 subscribers. And I think what I'm trying to do over there is awesome. But it's definitely a lot different and crazy than the stuff I talk about on this channel. But again, I'm trying to evolve it. But I mean, I got a full-time job and all this stuff, right? Like, so I'm trying really hard to figure out how to work this all in. I've actually got another idea. This will get some of you excited, because it's mainly going to be people like in the chats that I probably offer this up to. But I'll probably do something maybe next weekend for Sunday morning. So this is Saturday morning. I'm not sure where you're at in the world, but I do this at 8 a.m. Los Angeles time is when I start these lives. Probably do something roughly an hour later on Sunday, where I will basically invite people to say, all right, you want to be in a little small meeting that I'm going to do, and invite some people to come in, and you'll be able to talk, and you'll be able to ask questions, and it's not going to be broadcast on the internet necessarily. Maybe we will. I don't know. We might go down to that path at some point. But at first, just offer it up. Maybe say, all right, first 20 people that, send me stuff, I'll let you in, and we'll work on that. So that's one thing I'm thinking of doing too. It takes up time. So again, it's just the things that I'm trying to do a lot of things, and just where I focus the efforts is probably my biggest challenge. A lot of things I want to do, and not quite enough of me to go around. So just working on figuring out how to spread myself a little thinner if I can. Let's see. Grand Canyon was much better than Disneyland for me. Yeah, Grand Canyon is one of the most beautiful places on earth. I thought you were leaving, Lisa. What the heck? You're a liar. I love it. For all of those who are asking, you're not a liar. I was just joking. I hope you understand that. Kay Kushner, for all of those who are asking themselves, how long will it take before my desire comes into 3D? Let me tell you that I have a burning desire which has been on again, off again. But I know that everything that has happened is part of me getting to the end desire. Meantime, I'm growing in me and being that person with more stable energy and enjoy the ride. It's been years, so even at that dream. And I will keep my dream alive, even if on occasion I have fallen back to just forgive yourself and keep going when you feel better again. Never give up your desire. Okay, that was awesome advice given in 3 separate lines, but I found them. That's good. That's important, I think. But yes, excellent advice, guys. Really, I mean, if I was to give advice at all to anybody, other than, holding the vision and all, right, just the basics, because if no one's doing that, then let's get that fixed first. But the day-to-day, enjoy your day. Find a way to enjoy your day. If this thing that you desire and not having it right now causes you to not enjoy your day, you're not going to manifest that, because you've got a very repulsive or a very separated energy from it. So one assessment is, how are you with the fact that this thing's happening? And if you're okay with that, and you can go, no, that's fine, that's cool. I'm groovy with watching the plant open itself up, or right, the flower open up. I'm okay with that. Then you'll be fine. You'll be great. But if you have a problem with the fact that this flower wants to open up, and it might take it days or weeks to open, you want it to open right this second, yeah, you're going to probably have a hard time with manifesting. So from those 2 standpoints, I would handle the people differently, kind of like what we talked about at the very beginning of this video. So, which hardly any of you were a part of. But yeah, there's a cool little thing I started out with at the beginning of this about how to try to help people and tailor your advice depending on those things. So hopefully that helps. I never did actually turn that on. Oh well. Let's see here. Meeting with potential client this past Wednesday went not quite as I visualized. It was better. Oh, look at that. Cool. Sweet. That happens frequently too. A lot of the times I've noticed that things happen a little differently than I intended per se, but the way it played out was super awesome. So again, a lot of the times it helps you kind of realize and learn that what you end up with, or what happens, or what's created is perfect. And though it may seem strange sometimes, maybe give it a moment, and you'll be surprised when you look at it from a slightly different angle, and probably at that point you will see that it takes on a whole new meaning, and it can be very powerful when that happens. Okay, let's see. I was just talking to a friend yesterday about how me and my kids used to love to play those little white balls. We used to bounce some of them in our wall in the little apartment. There you go. Super Doobus, I guess. Doobas? Super Doobus? Doobus? Is that Doobies? Doobies. Is that what that is, maybe? I hope. That'd be cool. Lisa Marie's still background candy. Oh, yeah. I'm going all over the place here, aren't I? Let's see. Dan, how does what we send out work when someone is just not into, like dating coaches say, not into you? What do you do then? They're just not into you slogan. Okay. So here's the thing. I won't say it anyway. I don't care. I'll probably lose. I got 68 people right now. Let's see how many we lose. Right here. This would be awesome. Okay. So here's my total belief. I've manifested a lot of people into my life. I've been in love 5 times. I've never been married, no kids, no family, none of that crap. No, I've got family, but I have not, nice, already lost 2. I have manifested many people. One of the things I have learned in time is that there are times when I know that me and this person for sure, when I use any of the manifesting techniques, are definitely going to end up together. No question about it. They're kind of into me or they're open to it. I can kind of tell. Then there have been people that are not open to me. And those ones just don't happen, no matter how hard I try, no matter what efforts I make, no matter what. So I'll be honest, if someone's not into you, always for me, I've been like, why would I want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with me? I instantly turn corners, done. Seriously, why would you want to be with anybody that doesn't want to be with you? I understand we miss, I understand we love, I understand this is who I want, that's who I'm looking at. I get it. I've been attracted to people too. They're the most beautiful, most nicest, most wonderful person. You know what? I met other people after that were amazing. I never would have saw the person I'm with now had I stayed focused on this other individual who was not open to being with me, and I wasn't open to receiving them when we met. I mean, I'd known her 6 years. It's like, this ain't happening. And though she cares about me, she doesn't want to be in a relationship. Why would I want to pursue that? So that's one thing that I've always had a hard time with other people that are insistent that they manifest a specific person. Goddard had a really cool lecture. I can't remember what it was, and I apologize. Someone shared it with me, and it was fantastic. But Goddard had a lecture where he was talking about someone trying to manifest a specific person. And he said, don't you want to manifest love, you mean? Don't you want to manifest marriage? And she goes, no, a specific person. And he basically tried to talk her down the understanding that she wanted love. She disagreed, walked away. Number of months later, he's at her wedding. She's getting married. And it wasn't to the guy that she had originally talked to Neville Goddard with. And when Neville Goddard and her made eye contact, he knew, she knew at that moment that it was not the person that she was trying to manifest, but it was the relationship that she was trying to manifest. So many of us come at our manifestations from a kind of different way than I think is proper. I'll just share. A lot of the times where we're at this moment is what we attract. It's the people we attract to us. So if I'm vibrating a certain way right now, and I attract somebody to me when I go down to the grocery store and I'm shopping, I got my basket, and someone bumps into me and I look over and it's a hot and amazing lady or something. I've got a girlfriend, I'm kidding, but just go with me for a moment, right? And all of a sudden, I've bumped into this person. I'm now going to spend the time kind of walking down this path where I'm going to enjoy who she is. But come to me a year from now. Maybe I've expanded myself. Almost lost my train of thought. Come a year from now, right? I've met her. We've gone out a few times, but I've expanded. I've changed. I've grown. I'm really into expanding my life, maybe really taking off on this YouTube thing. Maybe I'm doing live events and people are interacting with me and that's starting to bother her, whatever. But maybe certain characteristics start to become difficult in our relationships because she kind of doesn't want to grow in that way, or she doesn't really want to change what's going on in her life. And I have changed a bunch. And a lot of people, when they get to this place in life, they look at the person that's not where they're at and they try really hard to change them. And I've found it extremely difficult to force change people. Coming as someone who has believed in crazy stuff my whole life, has constantly wanted to make a difference in other people's lives. I talked about it on the video I did with Agnes recently, how my mom told me something when I was very young, and I just always believed that I was here to make a difference. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what I always believed. So I've tried really hard to do that my whole life. And not everybody's very receptive sometimes to when you're trying to tell them what they don't necessarily want to hear right now. If they're not ready to change, if they're not ready to see it, for those who have the eyes to hear and the eyes to see and the ears to hear, knock on the door shall be open to you. If someone doesn't have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, yeah, you knock on the damn door all you want. No one's coming in. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. It's one of the biggest challenges, I think, for a lot of people in relationships in life. Goddard talks about everyone as yourself pushed out in one of his lectures that he does. In the lecture, in the context of what he says, everyone is yourself pushed out, he's never once referring to a relationship with an individual. What he's talking about is trying to manifest, say, for example, like a job or an increase in pay or a promotion. Rather than worrying about influencing your boss to give you that raise, or even influencing your friend's boss, because I think that was the case in this particular lecture. He was trying to help a friend get a promotion. So influencing his boss, no, you don't worry about that. Everyone is yourself pushed out. He meant that you stay focused on them doing the standing up with the glass of wine and doing a toast. Ding! I'd like to get everyone's attention. Ding, 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 right? And do a toast for my promotion in front of the whole table of all of us. And I got to sit at that table in my imagination. Essentially what Goddard was talking about. And so you imagine the ding, 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 and him giving this heartfelt speech about how great it is that he gets to share this moment with you guys. You don't think about the boss at all. And that's what he was talking about with everyone is yourself pushed out in that particular lecture. Outside of that, the only other quote I've seen is the world is you pushed out. That's it. This everyone is you pushed out. There's a lot of quotes that I've seen thrown around that I don't necessarily see in his readings. And there's a lot of things about relationships that I think have been abstracted a little bit from his readings that I don't necessarily see him speaking to. Goddard, I feel, has a similar thought on this. And I'm curious what stuff he's written that does get into relationships. I know everyone and their mothers, especially one person in particular, is going to be sharing all sorts of links with me. And I'll check out the ones I can. But it's just one of those things where if we realize that you want to manifest something in particular, there's a certain experience you want to have. And if it's the case of specific someone or love or whatever, if that person doesn't want to be with you, seriously, you deserve better than that. You owe yourself better than that. That's why a lot of people say it's self-love at that point. If you love yourself enough to go, I deserve better than this. This guy just doesn't care about me. Turn and start looking in a different direction. What you'll find frequently is the second you stop making them your obsessive importance, they suddenly become very interested in you when you turn your back on them. It happens a lot. Not always, but certainly happens a lot. I've experienced it many a time. And I've even done it kind of intentionally, screwing with people. Not in a cool way, and it wasn't cool that I was doing it, but it was part of learning. It was part of how I've experimented with this stuff. It's amazing what our energy does. If you guys paid more attention, it's amazing. Getting someone to look at you when they're in a room. I've done that a bunch. I've talked about this before. I know I'm way off on a tangent, but it is what it is. Have someone walk in and be off to the side and imagine them from their perspective. So maybe the example last time I did it was fun. I was at the coffee shop and I was sitting kind of off to the side and they walked up to the register. And so I imagined, and this is all you got to do, is from their perspective, and it was a friend of mine, that's why I was trying to get him to look over at me so I could actually wave at him, but from his perspective, have him look and what he would see as he turned his head towards me. Towards me. What would his perspective be? And that's what I imagined. I imagined what he would see if he turned to look at me. And almost immediately, he turned and looked at me. It's extremely powerful what our energy does. When you pay attention to it, it's enormously powerful. So again, where you're at vibrationally is what you're attracting. And just because something was a certain way at one point when your energy was a certain place, doesn't mean you can change that to fit where your energy's at now. Sometimes we evolve, sometimes we repaint our screen, sometimes we refresh. I actually picked up subs. I did not think that was not subs, but people. That tripped me out. Anywho, that's my long diatribe. I expected that would be catastrophic. That's good. See, that's what happens when your expectations are. I almost didn't talk about it, but I did it anyway. Gary's in here. Nice to see you, buddy. Yeah, I did that once as well, Dan. Never did it again. I forget what I was talking about. It was probably a day and a half ago, right? Letitia. Renee, let's see. Let the world repaint itself. I'm going to say, yeah, see, it's a good way to look at it because it really is, man. Every day is like a new canvas. Really, if you look at it with tabula rasa, right? Like it's a clean slate. Every day, look at it as a chance to see what cool stuff ends up on your painting or what neat scenes end up in your movie today. When you wake up with that excitement in your life, you will be amazed at the cool stuff that seems to happen all around you. Mr. Champion, nice to see you, buddy. Is it okay to spend an hour meditating Neville's way as long as it feels good, as long as we're living in the end and it feels, is it okay to do many times a day for the fun of it? Sure. Yeah, I mean, I would say I think there's more to life than meditation. I mean, I think that's one thing that most masters have taught is, there's a reason why we're in this physical world, right? We choose to do this. So meditating and trying to dislocate necessarily from it. But when you look at like the monks and some of the more amazing spiritual people on this planet, yeah, they spend like gobs of time in meditation. So yeah, I mean, yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Whatever your path is and whatever you feel like you want to get towards, meditation's extremely powerful. Definitely something I recommend. And the more heavily spiritual you want to get more into meditation. If it feels good, like Goddard talks about, I'm not sure exactly which one you're talking about. If it's the more of the like the lullaby kind of thing or what, but yeah, just feeling and the feeling for wish fulfilled and all that good stuff. However you do it, whatever you do, it's awesome. Letitia, Dan, I know you said you're not buying the whole everything is you pushed out. No, everything is you pushed out, I buy. It's not everyone is you pushed out, I don't buy. Really, 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 really want to make sure that's very clear. Everything is you pushed out. Yes, I completely agree with that because it's my movie. Everything, they're things for sure. Everyone, when they assume that people are you or whatever, like that just gets very confusing for a lot of people. I get a lot of questions around that. And so that's where that comes into play. I feel like I just lost where we were. Okay, well, that's that. Where were we? There it is. Dan, how does what we send out work when someone is just not, oh God, okay, bouncing all over here. Sorry, guys. I feel like I missed a whole bunch of stuff. Dan, you said, okay, there it is. Okay, Dan, I know I said it again. I'm sorry, I apologize. You said you're not buying the whole everything as you pushed out. Clarified that. But we'll ever look into it more and see what you get. I feel like you would have an amazing explanation for it. Yeah, again, yeah. So I did, and I've got an explanation for it. Here's the reason, Letitia, that I don't talk about it a lot. All of the law of attraction coaches out there right now, or at least the ones that are in the circle I seem to be tied to, absolutely just blasted this from all the giant mountaintops. Everyone is you pushed out. Everyone is you pushed out. So when you say anything to the contrary, dude, people start throwing all sorts of produce at you. Let me just tell you. So it's one of those, this is not a popular view. It's like me and that Brian Scott guy when we were talking about it. Him and I aren't too terribly far off on this concept. And it's really trying to get people to see it just a little different. And it's pretty powerful, but yeah, sometimes it's hard. So I don't know. It is what it is. Violets, if you only want better versions of XSP who listens to compromises instead of being the asses that they were, it was written here. Haha, does that need to be scripted or can you just stick to the simple end visualization scenes? If you only want a better version of your ex, yeah, just stick to the visualization scenes. I mean, as I was saying to the person that I was helping the other day, I'm perfectly okay with people wanting to go down that path. And that was actually specifically the question I asked her. If you want to go down this path, which is to stay with this and keep trying to get this person, all right, then just understand that you got to wait until they make that decision and agree to knock on that door, and you can keep envisioning it, and you can certainly help, and you might very well be the reason they make that step up. I've talked about how when we raise ourselves, sometimes it's to help raise others up. So again, there's a whole side of this that can play into that. If by chance this person is really just not doing anything, don't give you any attention, not nice to you, right? Like there's a whole slew of other things. Probably want to look at manifesting love. So again, I don't think things are black and white, and I think it always depends on what people are trying to manifest and where they're at. I think some people are in situations that aren't necessarily healthy. I think some people are, and I think there's a whole kind of arrangement of people in between. So that's why I try really hard to cover these best I can, and I know oftentimes some of you guys are like, no, and it's like, I know, I see subscriber counts drop sometimes, and I know it's because I said something like that, and people are like, unsubscribe. Yeah, it happens. It is it's just part of it. And it's like, whatever. You do what you do. I gain stuff on other ones. Sometimes I upset people, apparently. Super Dubes, sort of variation from romper room. Kind of is. Magic Mirror, tell me. I'm just thank you for being as old as me, because no one gets the romper room metaphor when I use it. There's probably a couple in here, but yeah. Magic Mirror, tell me today, did my friends have fun at play? Oh, I see Letitia. I see Super Dubes. I see Susan. It was a stupid show, but man, it was awesome. It was right before a very cool cartoon that I liked anyway when I was younger. Cartoons, good stuff. All right, Susan, yes, just let go. Concentrate all yourself on being your true self and be real with yourself. I think that's excellent advice. Let's see, disregard the belief of being lonely. Don't make, people are responding. That's cool. You have a view of yourself as the prize. When I started working on my confidence and self-esteem, my value increased dramatically. Good for you, Letitia. I love the fact that we've got people sharing kind of like we are. This is a very, very cool. I like this. It's been nice. Derek Martis, nice to see you, buddy. Dan, do you think evil energy exists and try to create obstacles in our manifestation? Do I think evil exists? Yeah. Do I think it tries to tempt us? Yes. Does it have the power to block us? No. Does it have the power to throw thoughts into our head, maybe, and us allow ourselves to block ourselves? Yes. It can't of itself block you. You are more powerful, but it can certainly throw some challenges and obstacles at you, especially if you believe in it. So again, all you that don't believe in that stuff are like, Dan, that's crap. I know. If someone's asking me the question and they're coming at it from that angle, right? How do you answer the question? And yeah, you're right. Evil can definitely influence our existence. I highly recommend you don't give it a lot of power, because you are way more powerful, or at least the very fact that the power of Christ within you is enough to help protect you from evil, or the power of whoever. Yeah, probably Christ is probably sufficient. I don't mean that to sound judgmental, but anyway, there's no way I dig out of this hole. Letitia, yes, I was always okay with being single. Now I am rebuilding with my SP, and we share a deep bond and love together. I know it'll be official. Awesome. That is great. It's in process. It's unfolding in but a moment's time, as Goddard would say. It's fantabulous. Let's see. Letitia, Dan. Dan, can you talk about more past revisions? I just started doing it, and my godness, magic. Yeah, I mean, past revisions are finding something in your past that you would like to somehow revise in your mind, like it sort of went differently. And what happens if it did go differently? What if I did this situation would have played out like this? And then you kind of imagine life from that standpoint. And it's, it's a shifting. It's a way to transition from where you are. I'm also fond of revising shears of conversations that happen in our mind. That's definitely where I use it a lot. So it's another example of it, where maybe I'm having a conversation with that specific person, and maybe I'm arguing with them in my mind. Revising that conversation in your mind so it plays back differently. And now it's like we're getting along, we're discussing, we're embracing, we're hugging, we're loving. And when you could start to revise your thoughts, it helps you get into a more natural state with this desire you have. Because sometimes it feels crazy, right? Like we're fighting right now. I can't possibly imagine being together. So again, sometimes revising that we're fighting right now into a we're getting along great right now can make a huge difference in creating that experience. So revisions are powerful from a lot of standpoints. I've talked about like messing with the past. A lot of people again get mad at me for this, and I get it. You can do it. I'm not saying don't. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying I don't do it. I don't waste time trying to fix stuff in the past, and I don't mean it's a waste. I'm just saying from my standpoint, from my vantage point, from how I see it, I'd rather focus on where I'm going and where I'm heading. I don't really care about what's behind me. Like I've learned from it already. It's in my past. I don't hold on to it. I'm done with it. So again, I'm not real fond of always looking backwards as I walk forward. I find that I fall into canyons, and I didn't see it. It was the giant Grand Canyon, and I fell into it, right? So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, as I love that phrase so much. There's a big, broad spectrum of how you can come at the revision concept, and it's good stuff. Let's see. Let's see if we can find some questions in here. Let's see. Oh, boy. I love this question, Boggle Reed. What can you do to speed up manifestations? I kind of joke about this a lot, but one of the best things you can do to try to speed up manifestations is to stop thinking of speeding them up. When we have the concept of speeding it up, it implies that it's not here. That's where that thought, that core thought comes from. That's the belief that leads to that thought. I want this to happen quicker. Why? because I don't have it right now and I don't want to wait at all. I want it to happen now. No, wait, how about now? How about now? Okay, I want it now. No, that's a very separating kind of energy. The best way to manifest is to hold the image of the thought or desire that you want. Feel it as though it's happening right now. Be that. Hold that feeling. Know that you are good enough or perfect enough or the exact right thing. Right now, you're perfect as you are to be in this situation, whatever it is. A better job, in a relationship, more money, whatever the situation, new house, whatever the situation is. I am good enough right now to exist in this reality. And hold that vision and know that's true. And understand that the second you do that feeling of like I've got this already, you create a number of steps back to yourself from this future space, place, whatever it is. And but a moment's time, it will unfold. And it is part of the steps that we'll go through in life. We're going to go through experiences that will cause this manifestation to crystallize and unfold into our realities. So we've decided this is the reality I want. A number of stepping stones to it and to you connect themselves, and we begin the journey via experiences. I'm not saying time, because it is but a moment's time, and it's however many experiences are necessary to get you from A to Z or A to Z. But those steps immediately form and start walking the steps. Do the inspired action. Do the things and be the things you need to do to get to where you're trying to go. That's how you do it faster. You stay more serious about staying on your path to success. That increases how quickly it manifests. But if you think that I can do more visualizing to make it happen faster, if you think that if I don't think about them, that'll help it manifest quicker. No, you need to step through the steps to get to the space-time. There's experiences that need to unfold, whatever they are, and a lot of them are going to be inspired. You keep your conscious and subconscious in line. So then your mind starts getting these ideas like, ooh, I should do this, or ooh, I should open up a web page, or ooh, I should contact this person, or ooh, I should book a room or book the favorite restaurant on that night because I know we're going, right? Like whatever it is, you're going to get these ideas that are going to be parts of these stepping stones. And as that happens and as you progress through it, you will see that things start to happen. And things, as you get closer to the reality of it, they start to crystallize more and more. And as that crystallization happens, you'll start to be like, oh my God, it's totally coming. This is awesome. This is happening. This is great. And it just kind of helps perpetuate that motion forward. Long. All right, Dan, or Lisa Marie, let's hear. I think chilling out, being grateful for what you have and what you will be receiving is the best way to live. Joy is a natural state of being, and when we disallow it, as Abraham says, you feel bad. And much harder to manifest when you feel bad. It's very, very true. It's awesome. Let's see. My new saying is arigato, which is Japanese, right? Thank you. I love it. Whenever I pay something, I say that quietly to myself. Well, 80% of the time. That's pretty good, though. The 80-20 rule. You're covering it. Leona, let's see. Dan, will you please describe the difference between everyone versus everything as you pushed out? Well, yeah, everyone is people. So when it says everyone as you pushed out, a lot of people seem to think that other people are literally themselves. And so if I don't want to be with myself, well, of course they don't want to be with me. So all I got to do is just want to be with myself, and they'll want to be with me. And in a lot of cases, that works out really well. Again, I've covered this from a lot of angles. Sometimes it doesn't, whatever the case is. Maybe I didn't try hard enough. Maybe I didn't believe strong enough. I know that's what everybody out there thinks, and that's fine. I don't care. I've done a lot of this. It's okay. I'm very confident in where I'm at in my understanding of it. But sometimes things work out wonderfully. Sometimes it's very easy. Sometimes you bump into somebody and you just literally don't stop hanging out with them. Like, it's just awesome. So everyone is people. Everything as you pushed out is nothing's working out. All the traffic signals are red. People keep cutting me off. Like, it's just that kind of stuff where things in life are happening because of me. I attract what's going on in my life. I attract what I'm experiencing in my life. So from that standpoint, I just realized I probably didn't do that. From my standpoint, it's just the stuff in life is because of me. Like, I'm in sync. The timing I'm experiencing is more of the everything is you pushed out component. And the non-people portions of life for sure follow some very basic rules without a doubt. And most of the time, Well, all people follow these same rules. Specific people, again, is where it starts to get interesting. So everyone, as you pushed out, still works when it comes to, I need a boss to help me get a promotion, or I need a new job, so I need whoever it is at that company to see me and be like, dude, this is the guy we got to have, right? So I don't worry about trying to find that individual. That's the everyone also, as you pushed out, right? So I realized that universe or source or God or whatever is taking care of finding the right partners for my movie, right? The right people to hand the script to, and they'll be like, yeah, I'll read the script to you. Here we go. Let's do this, right? Like, so that's also part of it. Again, the everyone, everything, us pushed out, there's a lot to it. And I would say I completely agree with all the coaches 90% of the time. Truly, 90% of what they say, I agree with that. I agree with that completely. It's the 10% of confusion where I get a lot of people that get very confused because certain people are being really weird to them. And yes, maybe they're attracting that experience, or yes, maybe because of their low self-esteem, they're allowing that experience. I get it. There's a lot of components that go into that. But when you're telling that person that doesn't help them at all. And so sometimes we're in relationships where people need to kind of at least step away from it for a moment and look at a brighter tomorrow or look differently at things. And so it's that 10% where I really feel like people need extra help and are kind of down this rabbit hole that sometimes can happen in this manifestation world. It can be very difficult when you keep assuming, and it still doesn't happen. It's like, am I trying to go down a path that I shouldn't? Like, at some point, I think it's important to ask, at least myself, questions like, maybe this isn't something I should do right now. Like, I wanted to be a doctor when I was going to school. I was a chemistry major. And then because I happened to smoke cigarettes, I bumped into a dude that had a hot dog stand. He told me about a radio class. I took the class the next semester, along with all my other stuff. It was my elective, and fell in love. I'm like, this is what I'm here to do. Oh my God. I found my calling by not following what I thought I was here to do, but by some random thing that happened on my path. So sometimes when we finally open ourselves up to what we really want, not what we think we should do or not what we've been told we should do, but what we really want, when we open ourselves up to that, the sky's the limit. Things open up. It's like instantly things start happening. Instantly people call you, like text you. You're like, whoa, well, this other person's suddenly interested in me. Like, whoa, where'd that come from? It's just the way the energy works. When we finally take off the filter of something because we're tired of wearing it and then put on a different filter, suddenly you see things that you never saw before immediately, right in front of you, immediately. It's so powerful. I know I totally spun off that, but radio start. I like that. Dan, you are a radio start. My sister was on Romper Room. No way, Nicole, that's awesome. Yeah, you and I chatted. That was awesome. I didn't want to make you old. I think you're much younger than me, but that's very cool. I remember, I think I kind of met your sister, actually, when I come to think of it, right? Didn't I? Anyway, Don Champion. Dan, I find that when I do things that bring me joy, I attract my desires effortlessly. Yes. Let me say this again. Don, speaking wisdom. Dan, I find that when I do things that bring me joy, I attract my desires effortlessly. Would you say that when we are radiating joy, ease, relaxing, becoming more magnetic, I would say so, or if anything, we are being far less repulsive to what we desire, right? So when we're in joy, when we're in happiness, we're in the flow, as Esther Hicks would kind of talk about it, right? We're in the vortex. We're feeling groovy. Life's good. Life's great. When you're in that place, stuff just attracts to you. When you're in that bad place, you're kind of more repulsive, or better way to put it, you're not really repulsive as much as you attract more of what you're feeling. And if you're feeling dark, deep, blue, then you're getting more of that in your life. And so that will probably not be the experience you're desiring. And yeah, so trying to feel good is usually a great way to get more of that good stuff going down in Chinatown, as they might say. Okay, speaking with conviction helps so much with manifesting. I've done that for sure. I agree. One day I said, somebody is going to buy me a car. And I laughed at myself, but I believed in the possibility. 4 months later, guess what? Gifted a car. Thank you very much, Letitia, Renee. Great, great story. I love it. And it's true. I actually did a video on that one time, and I think that's actually one of the keys. And that guy you asked about how to make it faster, I will say there's been times in life where I said it with conviction. It's true. It's like such an emotion, such a strength, such a demand to the universe. make this happen. Like, I don't care. No's not an option. This must happen. And when you can come at it from that true conviction, and it's, again, you can't just go, make it happen and not really mean it and feel it. Like, you've got to have that behind it. You've got to have that emotion behind it. But it's, for some reason, every time I've ever done that, it's happened very quickly after that declaration. So yeah, if you can find a way to get that conviction into it where this has to happen, and yeah, finding that, I'm not sure. I've thought a lot about trying to, how do you feel like that intentionally? Challenging to me anyway, so far. Maybe Goddard's got something awesome on that. We'll see. It's all right, Letitia, you are allowed to comment. I'm going to say your name wrong. Oksana? Yeah, I keep messing it up. Maybe a silly question. What do people mean by pushed out? They mean, so the way, here's an analogy for you. Oksana? I hope, anyway. Imagine a movie screen, right? When you go to the movies, right? The screen in front of you is our world. That's what we view, right? That's what your experience and your little illusion we call movies is, right? That's what it is. So the projector behind you, or the thing that's pushing the screen out on there, right? That's pushed out. And so the way to look at it kind of is like our consciousness is sort of like that projector, and it pushes stuff out onto the screen. So someone will walk in and maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they forgot their wallet, maybe whatever, right? And they're pulling up at your place of business, and they walk in and they're rude. And it's not that they're a bad person. It's not that they actually hate you. It's not they have a problem. But you're kind of maybe in a bit of an insecure place right now. And so they come in and they kind of don't seem happy. And you look at them like, they're probably tripping out of my shirt, or my hair looks weird today. Or I don't know, I jacked up my makeup today. Or I don't know, I didn't shave and I feel weird when I don't shave. Like me, you guys know the videos, I feel weird when I do shave, but whatever. Right? But it's that I don't feel right. So I start looking at them as they're coming in, and I'm like, they don't like me. They don't like me at all. Man, crap, I don't know why this customer doesn't like me. I don't get it. And then they walk in, they're already having a bad day, so they're kind of already ready to play this script out with you that they're going to be mean to you. Because you were expecting that today. You were expecting you're going to get crap for whatever. And here it is. Here's the first person. They're just playing the part because they were in the mood and the place to be able to do that. Now, maybe the one that falls in after might be having a great day, might come in. You might have handed them that, hey, I'm having a crappy day script. And they're like, yeah, I don't care. I'm gonna blow some sunshine on you. Watch. And they might come in and be like, hey, did you hear that joke about what do you call a boomerang that doesn't come back to you? It's a stick. Right? And you're like, no way. What the hell is going on here? This guy's trying to make me happy. That's ridiculous. Again, pushed out is that what we expect to see is what we generally experience. Doesn't mean that's actually true. Just means that's what our perception of it is. So we push ourselves out. We push this concept out onto what happens to us or what we experience. And we say, this is what it means based off of what's going on inside of me, or based off what I expect is happening inside of them. And then we decide that's what it is. Oftentimes, we don't have any information whatsoever to back that up, but we assume it's true. And then all of a sudden, things happen that prove it to us. And a lot of the times, we'll use that as like, see, it happened. And it's like, yeah, but you've been saying it was going to happen for an hour. So yeah, it did finally happen. You're right. It happened. Not because, so again, it's just funny how it plays out, but pushed out, that's what they mean. That's the concept. So that's why when everyone and everything, why I see it differently, they're two different kinds of nouns, right? There's persons, places, and things. So things are one thing, persons are one thing, and places are one thing. Like manifesting to a place, that's one thing. Manifesting a person into a place is one thing. Manifesting a thing in a place is something, right? To me, they're different. And I know we should think of them all the same, and they ultimately are. Don't get me wrong. I get that. I'm not trying to say they're not. But there's a difference the way people have a component that they can think for themselves, and sometimes it doesn't quite work how we thought. But, animals are cool. Like they're the same way, by the way. If you have energy, they'll react to you very much the same. It's very, very interesting the way life force and energy works. It's one of the things I'm very into is energy, the energy flow. That's why I like Celestine Prophecy. Great book, link below if you guys are interested in the book. Gets very much into energy and the way energy transference happens when you're actually attracted to somebody, the energy flow that you create. And if it's a creepy attraction, that can feel really weird to that person and they might not be comfortable around you. Like there is a lot to be said about the energetics, thought transmissions, as I call them frequently. And people just don't understand how that kind of plays into their whole thing. So you may think great things about them, but if you're sending weird energy, sometimes they don't respond well. That's just kind of how people are. It helps. And animals too. Just any living being, right? You're kind of a weird, mean person. Dogs tend to kind of get away from you, right? Like they don't like you even. Let's see. Letitia, you are asking lots of stuff. I love it. Derek, let's see. Dan, what's your input on power of words on manifesting process? Words are powerful. It's really ultimately the feeling that does a lot of the manifesting. A lot of the times the words are meant to either A, try to inspire a feeling, or B, maybe try to align conscious and subconscious a little better. I use that frequently. But words are very powerful. In the beginning, they say was the logos. A lot of people said in the beginning was light. But actually, some say that logos actually meant in the beginning was thought or word. And so because of that, it's actually how creation began, was from a thought. And which, from a law of attraction standpoint, actually fits a lot better. But some would say that's what logos actually meant versus being translated into light, which was possibly not quite what the original meaning was. Hopefully that kind of answers some of that. Anyway, Lori Mortimer, I think printing shears of revisions works kind of like astral letters. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with Lori completely. Revising things that didn't go well, like recently anyway, I think is good because you can actually adjust where you're at currently. If it's something that was well into the past, again, that's kind of where I'm like, it's over and done with. I've already let go of those feelings and emotions probably and moved on. But yeah, if it's something that's recent or current or whatever, yeah, I deal with it. And again, we've talked about that before. That was like a big discussion with last week and stuff, but it's like, it's one thing to talk about something that hasn't happened. You're putting energy towards it, whether good or bad. It might be a good thing, might be a bad thing, depends. Once something's manifested, once it exists, then kind of dealing with it is appropriate. And sometimes, yeah, revisions, astral letters, trying to steer the ship through thoughts and just going from this never works to this sometimes works to this works occasionally to, oh my God, this works almost all the time. Like it's a change. It's like steering a rudder of a big boat. It takes time to turn it, but you can turn it. So sometimes we can come at it from a few angles, but yeah, there you go. Revisions are great for when you've manifested something and you want to change it. Hope that helps. Christopher Poland, nice to see you, buddy. Revision is metaphorically Groundhog Day over and over. Kind of, yeah, right? Where time is always present, being defined. Present is awareness of life is now a gift as each day the sun rises and sets in the same path. I probably butchered that in reading it. I'm sure you had an eloquence in your mind when the way that played out. Okay, let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Susan, wow, Dan, I love the way your mind works. I appreciate that because sometimes sometimes I wonder, I'm like, where did that come from? Fortunately, the dude I work with is like one of my better friends. This guy's great, but him and I, we have these frequent moments where we both see something just really funny and we'll comment to each other. And it's just the way our minds work. There's something goofy about it, but thank you. I appreciate that. Eliminate all negative influence. The news, social media, toxic people. Some people never realize how much this stuff controls your submind. That's very, very, very true. Yeah, I don't like the word eliminate, but it is. It's funny. That's kind of a joke with me and my girlfriend. And on top of that, it's just a very strong word, and it's kind of got that repression sort of feel to it. But yeah, no, I mean, you don't want to entertain these negative thoughts. You don't want to entertain negative sources of information. You don't want to entertain negative people at all. What you bring into your mental diet, be it the people that are talking around you. I mean, if you are around negative people, as long as you're not necessarily partaking in it, for example, maybe people are gossiping, and maybe you might have heard a little story about Amy and that little thing that happened on that date. You know what I'm talking about. Well, maybe you heard about it. You don't have to share it. The second you share it, you're now part of it. You're partaking. You can be mad at them all you want. All right, it's gossipers. Yeah, well, you gossiped too. So that's not, you can't get mad. So it's one of those things where if you're around people like that, you can listen and nod and, be a part of it and learn things. I'm sometimes like that. I've listened to people gossip. Just don't partake. You don't have to be a part of it. Sometimes you are where you are for a reason. Maybe you're there to get information. I mean, I don't know. Again, I look at life very interesting. Like if something's happening in my life right now, if I'm experiencing it, I consider it relevant, always. I mean, seriously, 100% of the time, if it's in my life right now, I consider it relevant. And if it's something that I can change, I will. If it's something I can create anew, I will. If it's something I like, I'll continue it. If it's something I don't like, I'll learn from it and move forward. Like, I love it, man. Life is great, and I have a great relationship with my outer world because I see it for what it is, an expression of my inner world. And And if I like what's going on, yeah, my inner world's groovy. I like where I'm at. Keep doing that. Life's unfolding. If I don't like what I'm seeing, something's going on inside of me. Let's fix that. Then my outer world changes. It's pretty awesome. All right. I was just thinking how everything includes everyone. That's a neat kind of concept. Let's see here. Tiana Marie? Dan, I listened to your podcast, literally walked into a gas station, it was glass, saw a penny on the floor, picked it up for luck, turned around, and there was a wad of money on the floor. Wow. So there you go, right? I mean, that's what I was telling you, folks. So if you listen to my show, you're going to find piles of cash. Yeah, I wish I could have that on my disclaimer. Wouldn't that be a good one? I guarantee my video count would be significantly higher. It'd be like, watch this video and find a pile of cash. It could happen, though. You could manifest that for sure. Let's do it. Joe Vital shows an example of how one man took a full responsibility for everyone in a criminally insane... I don't want to keep reading that. I'm sorry. I really just don't. Let's see here. Son, I understand the concept. Just never heard it referred to this way. Thanks for explaining it. It's awesome. Thoth, which is thought. Yeah, Thoth is awesome. I don't know if you've looked at the links of books I give, but Melchizedek is one guy that speaks a lot of Thoth, and supposedly that's how you pronounce it. A lot of people might call it Thoth, but supposedly it's pronounced Thoth. That being said, yeah, Thoth is actually ties directly into this dude. I'm not joking. Directly into this dude. He's got a few different names he's gone by. I don't really want to get into all of them. One, because I'll probably screw it up. And two, this is an energy that I've been involved with for most of my life. And on top of that, I do actually think there's a connection for those of you that are aware of my fringe stuff in the Law of One. I think there's possibly a tie-in between those energies as well. Not that Thoth is the same thing as Ra, but similar times, maybe. Anyway, I don't know. Involved. Very fascinating that I think there's some connections that maybe come into play. But yeah, Thoth talks about thought, and that's where I learned that. So yes, very good point that you bring up. Miss Hill. All right. Well, let's see. No, we'll go up one more. Sorry, I'll get to you, Miss Hill. You're next. Do you think the world manifested the coronavirus, and will it spread because we push against it so much? I did a video on the coronavirus, got a lot of crap for it, and honestly, I'm laughing about it now. Not laughing, but laughing more in an ironic kind of way in that I saw this coming. Like, it's no big deal. First off, there's very few people that are dying from this, relatively speaking. The number of people getting sick was actually reasonably small. What I want you to do, just for a little bit for your mind, I want you to look at how many people, you can use the United States if you want, or your country, wherever. I don't know if you may be from here or not. I'm not sure. Look how many people died from the flu last year. The flu. Influenza. The regular flu. A thing that all of us have gotten better, and we've all moved on. Sometimes the very, very young and sometimes the very, very old and people with messed up immune systems can have bad reactions to just a regular old flu. Way more people died in the United States alone last year from the flu. So I don't think this is a big deal. It is being played up because fear is something, again, if they can create fear, that's a very powerful effect to keep people in. So there is something to be said about why they're doing that. It's why they suggest you don't actually watch stuff like that, because it can be damaging to your energy. You might actually get scared. And when you're scared, that's not good. You're not in a good energy space. You're attracting bad things into your life. Law of attraction works that way too. If something gets y'all freaked out, now all of a sudden, maybe you will get sick because now you're like, oh my God, I'm so worried I'm going to get sick. And when you focus on something, that happens to you. Now, to some of the examples that people frequently like to use, but they consider the fact that I'm speaking about this to help keep it alive. And I understand that, but it's actually not true. It already exists because it's been manifested. It is a global thing because it's global consciousness, and possibly, we'll just leave it there. Global consciousness has this thing, and global consciousness will resolve this thing. For those of us that are freaking out, we make ourselves more vulnerable. But there are very simple ways that we can protect ourselves energetically through our immune system, and just some basic, simple practices like washing hands. The mask is stupid, all that stuff. Unless you're sick, the mask is a bad idea if you're healthy. It actually can put you more at risk. I did a video on it. If you want, go to my channel page and my videos and search for Corona. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to put energy towards it. But at the same time, it does exist. And I want people to realize that fear is something that's very dangerous. Fear of anything draws it to you. Understanding that we have immune systems, understanding that statistically speaking, this coronavirus is nothing. It's even sub-flu numbers, but they're making a big deal about it because they want you scared. So understand that. Understand that when they say it, just be like, it's not true. Like, probably 100 times as many, probably more than that, 1,000 times as many people probably died from the flu last year than people that are even sick with coronavirus in the United States. So again, I don't even think anyone died in the United States yet. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But yeah, anyway, that being said, that's probably all I'm going to talk about with that. Miss Hill, now it's your turn. Why LOA teaches it's our thoughts that we're not with our SP when it can be they're not into you. Because you don't sell books doing that. Because, honestly, I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. People want to hear what they want to hear. That's it. That's what it comes down to. So what do law of attraction coaches do? If someone's coming up to me and they've got a belief that everything is you pushed out, blah, 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 and I want to help them, do I tell them their belief is wrong? Well, you're kind of going against the grain a little bit, or you're kind of trying to swim upstream. So instead, you try to work within people's beliefs. Well, there is this giant belief, and it sells books and sells videos and sells everything, that everybody can manifest anybody they want. And that's awesome. That's true to the most part. It really is. But, I mean, you bring up the point, that's kind of a problem. But for the people that don't manage to manifest what they're after, all the other people that are law of attraction coaches just say you didn't believe, you didn't think properly, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, because everyone is you pushed out. Again, that's where I get frustrated with that phrase, right? They push it onto you like you're doing something wrong. And I've actually bumped into plenty of people that are good people, that are working on the right way, but are so messed up internally because people keep saying everyone's you pushed out. So the reason this isn't working out is because of you. The reason they're being mean to you is because of you. No. You're still trying to be with someone who's mean. Yes, I'm gonna ding some points on you for sure. But the fact that they're mean is not your fault. They're just a jerk. Now, I would suggest moving on. It's not my fault that person's a jerk. When I turn my back and walk away from them, they're still jerks to other people. I've seen it. And it's not affecting me, so it's not me pushed out. I don't care, right? Maybe it is. Maybe he's proven it to other people, but that's, again, like you bump into someone and they're being a certain way to you, that it's not just to assume right off the bat that it's necessarily my fault. And I've seen more people spin themselves into little crazy, depressing holes because they blame themselves and can't figure out what they're doing wrong. Sometimes people suck. It's not necessarily always you. Did it happen for a reason? Probably. Yeah, you attracted it. Maybe you were here to experience it. Maybe you were there to play a part in it. I don't know. Contrast. There's a lot of things that happen in our lives sometimes that just, hey, okay, I'm not sure what that was. Literally had a bat fly up on my porch one time. So I still think that's weird. During the day. And it was probably sick, which is not cool. But anyway, I'm surprised. I'm surprised I haven't gotten damaged more. That's very amazing. Mr. Champion, Dan, you have read The Abundance book by John Randolph Price. If so, what are your thoughts about it? I don't know if I've read that one. I don't think I have. I mean, I've read a few abundance books. The Waddles that I share, The Secret to Rich or whatever the hell, it's in my link below. I love that one. That's one of my favorite abundance books ever. Hands down, I think it's probably one of the single best books ever. But I haven't read that particular one. I've certainly heard of John Randolph Price. He was someone that was in the world, when I was doing this, reading this stuff. All the concepts with abundance that I've read pretty much seem to follow the same things. There's even a dude, his name's Ty Lopez, actually, does these online training courses. Went through all that, man. I paid a bunch of money to this guy. And, by the way, it was extremely helpful. But it's same stuff. It's all that same motivational, keep yourself focused, keep yourself aligned, especially if you're trying to build a business. A lot of people, especially in law of attraction circles, they'll be like, well, you don't have to work hard. That's true. You don't have to work hard. You need to work smart, for sure, but there's still going to be stuff that happens. It's part of a business. It's part of growing something. It's part of expanding and doing things. And sometimes you get to a point where there's too much for you to do, and then you start hiring people in to help you, and then that's how you start to build it up and bigger and bigger, right? So again, sometimes there's a whole, just getting yourself aligned, focused on where you're heading, find something that you're into, find something that you can keep doing day after day and enjoy, and you can gain success in so many different endeavors, especially nowadays, especially online commerce and all these different things that people do. It's awesome. I feel like this is a name I've not seen before. Frankie T81. Hi, Dan. Love the show. I watch every day. Get your daily perspective. This is my first time catching you live. Oh, well, welcome, welcome, welcome. That's awesome. All right, Robbie T. Meditation is very important in manifestation. While Neville said how very important this is, the silent I am meditation is important. The thing about I am is acknowledging the fact that the I am is that God component within you. It was shared with us very, very, even from a very, like just the way it was stated in the Bible. Like when God said, hey, what's the burning bushes? His name. He's like, whoa, I am. And he's like, what? And he goes, I am that I am. And it's just like, wow, okay, that's cool. What does that mean? But if you think about whenever I say I am going to the store, I am going to the gym, I am doing meditation, I am meditating, I am showering. Like, you're using that God part of yourself. We do it all the time. It is the most powerful way you can refer it. You state anything. One, it's in the present. I am is present tense. When you say I am and you force yourself to do something in the present tense, you are acknowledging your godness. And so if you're manifesting something that's not here yet, and it probably will happen in a future space-time or in but a moment's time, you imagine like it's right now. You experience it like it's right now. I am this now. I am successful. I am whatever. And maybe success, you've got it set. It's like when I'm a millionaire. Well, you're still growing success all the way up, right? When you hit $500,000 there, are you not successful? I mean, right? So it's one of those things where you've got to be okay with the fact that it's a process, and it is expansion. It's totally expansion in a lot of cases. Love too. My first time being in love versus, love now is a very different experience, right? A child's love versus when you're getting older, you understand love from a very, very different vantage point, and it can, make a big difference. Let's see. What do you give your attention to expands? It's so true. Don't give your attention to the virus. Focus on well-being. That's it. And that's exactly what my basic point in the video was, is just focus on your well-being. That's how you get better. So, yeah. Let's see. Dude, Sonia, thank you. That was very sweet of you. That was very sweet of you. Okay, how would you go about manifesting people coming to my blog more? How would I manifest people to come to your blog more? I guess I would probably plug your blog. I would probably put a screenshot of it up or something like that. But if I were you and I was trying to get more people to my blog, I would get out there and, try to get it on different pages. There's advertising you can get into. There's a lot of things that you can do to get exposure to it. And I know a lot of people want to just do it with law of attraction, but that's kind of, you get it out there. Or you find other websites and you hit them up with your articles and try to see if you can have them put your articles on their website and then link back to yours. So there's a lot of ways that you can get it out there and expand. Keep writing, ultimately. I mean, that's like, for me, is like, how do you grow a video channel? Well, you don't just like make one video and hope that's going to take you to the top. You make videos, you practice, you get better, you keep doing it. And ultimately, that's kind of what blogging is too, right? So you've got to keep doing it. You've got to have something that people want to come back to, right? You've got to make something that's interesting that they want to consume. And you get it out there. You offer it up. When, like with YouTube, you try to get on other people's channels. You kind of work with other people. You just expand, you network. It's the whole thing with trying to constantly get other people to see your things. So that's kind of how you do it. You certainly want to imagine the different metrics that you would expect and hope to see, and you need to make sure they're natural. It's like for me on my YouTube channel, like my next growth step isn't going to be like 100,000 subs, right? That's a really big jump from where I'm at. But maybe, the 15K mark is going to be fun because I'm getting close to that. And then 25K. I've actually got a picture printed out with 25K. So that's my next growth, right? Like, and that'll happen whenever it does. I don't really care. I honestly don't really care when it happens. That's part of the fun of it. I enjoy making videos. Enjoy my daily job that I do, and I'm just enjoying this whole process. It's a lot of fun. I get to hang out with you guys. We're going to probably do some more interactive stuff coming up in the future I was talking about earlier in the show. So we'll see how things play out, but it's good stuff. My brother most definitely was early wave of Ty Lopez. Yeah, he was good stuff, man. It was years ago. I want to say it was pretty close to when I first started this channel, when I was doing the Ty Lopez stuff. It was even kind of pricey at the time, and it's amazing how much further I've come since and how much I think it's actually made an enormous difference. So that's fantastic. Sonia, not only is it awesome that you did what you did, by the way, but I just love the fact that it's 999. Like, those are my favorite numbers, is 9, and anything of 9, and 999, triple nines is one of my favorite all-time numbers. So I hope you did. Thank you very, very, very much, and namaste. So yeah. Let's see that. Let's Bethany. This might be my. I don't know if you guys got some comments. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here, folks. We're almost at 2 hour mark too, so maybe we'll start thinking if it's winding down time or not. We'll see. Dan, can I manifest my kids' autism to heal through belief? I know it's not instant, like your cake mixing analogy, which is my favorite. Or can I? Or I can, but the question stops it from happening. Okay, so from a lot of the stuff that I've read and understand about healing, and this may disagree with some people in the audience, the person that has the autism, not just you, right? This is your child. And so the first question I would ask is, do you think your child's got his own life, his own soul, his own purpose, his own being, right? All those things. And I would say, I think so. So your child chose to come here and chose to have autism. Now, some of the things I've heard about autism, which I think is interesting, I'm just throwing this out there. I don't have autistic kids, and I'm not a doctor, okay? So please, none of that stuff. I don't pretend to know more than anybody else. Like you, I'm sure, know way more about this than I do. But one thing I've heard that's very interesting is they think that there's almost like that the autistic children's brains are operating actually on the future frequency of where the planet's heading, and we're still kind of in the old frequency. So they're like oddly faster, or it's different. It's at a different frequency. There's something going on where it's actually, they're maybe possibly more natural than we are. And so, again, is it one of those things where we necessarily heal it? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Again, I know it's a weird experience, and the children, it's not cool. So I don't know. I don't know, and I don't want to pretend I do. But if part of their experience is to be autistic, and that was why they wanted to be here and come here and experience life from that avenue, then you won't be able to heal it because it's part of who they are. It's part of their consciousness. It's them. They wanted to be this way. I don't believe we're born once. So first off, if that's a thing, it might be a challenge too for others. Whatever. It is what it is. But on top of that, if they aren't, and if it's somehow a thing that they came here that way and they want to be healed and their consciousness is really cool with that, and that was supposed to be part of your experience with them was to help heal, well, by all means, focusing on them being healthy, no matter what, even if it doesn't change the autism, is still going to benefit them. But focus on them being healthy, focusing on them acting like they're not autistic, however that might be. Focusing on them changing and getting better and better, like maybe some of those behaviors start to change and modify a little bit in sort of a strange way, and it's like it's lessening or getting better, or they're getting better at dealing with being this way. However, it helps to kind of manifest that. But that's definitely the direction you would want to go down that path. You want to hold that image. You want to see them and be as helpful along those lines as possible. I don't know if they're going to have questions towards that. I don't know how that exactly manifests itself. But again, you hold the end result, you hold the place, and that creates the stepping stones back. Maybe there's certain treatments that might come up. Maybe there's certain hypnosis type thing, right? Like things could happen that in your stepping stones that help alleviate or address or make it go away. Again, it's hard to say, one, because I don't think we fully understand how this autism works. And, maybe it is better than it seems, which I don't mean that to sound like it's good. It's not. Again, I've met autistic children. They seem okay, but yeah, it's different. I don't know what it is. It's a very different kind of frequency thing going on with those children. And in a lot of cases, autistic people have amazing gifts that come with that. So there's a weird, almost superhuman component. They're almost like X-Men, right? Little X-Men. So maybe part of it for us is just evolving with them, and maybe they'll start to make more sense to us as we catch up to them. So I'm not 100% sure where we sit on that, but I guess that's probably a lot to say. Man, well done. We came from the same age group, and your explanation to all this stuff, heard you again. Well done. Thank you, Kenneth. Yeah. Let's see. Don Champion, thanks for making your videos and making yourself available via Hangouts. I really appreciate your insight and perspective. Yeah, and again, just for those of you that are actually here, because I said this at the beginning and I'm saying it now, I was maybe going to try it this week, but it's just too soon because I've got to really be able to deal with all this. And I want to start small, but I think for next Sunday, I'll probably announce during the live on Saturday that I'm going to open up like 20 spots or 40 spots on the following Sunday mornings and do like a Zoom meeting where I invite like the first 40 people that hit me up, and I'll send you a Zoom invite, and then you can show up in that Zoom thing on Sunday morning. And it might be a way to do a hangout where it can actually be interactive. Again, I'm going to cut it off at 20, maybe probably 20 the first time, and give people, give myself a chance to be able to deal with a larger audience in a Zoom fashion and just see how it goes. But I think it might be a fun place where people can ask questions and we can all talk together and share stuff. And if that really does work out, I don't know, I might turn these Saturday shows into something more like that. Maybe I invite 20 people and we do a live from the Zoom. And that way we can we've still got people that are going to type in stuff, but at the same time, we've also got some other people that can chime in and vocally be a part of it. So we'll see. Maybe that's just 5 people, 10 people. I don't know. We'll see. But I got some ideas of stuff I want to do. And so, we're going to see what happens through this year, but I think it'll be a lot of fun to try to get a little more interactive with one another and see if we can share stuff with each other. I think that's the super important part, is really to be able to, interact with each other, ask questions, share what's working, kind of hear how you're talking about something, and maybe even ask you a couple quick follow-up questions to get a better assessment as to where you are. And then all of a sudden the advice becomes very apparent, right? So sometimes just being in that scenario helps a great deal. Jason, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, let's go ahead and start firing up some music. We got it. Cool. I'm glad you like that, Lisa. Let's see. Kenneth Ramy, put me in, please. I will. It'll be next week. So if you guys are here next Saturday, and if you guys are able to join roughly about the same time on the following Sunday, then we can do it. But yeah, there's no putting in now. Anyone that sends me emails early, I'm not putting you in. So don't bother. Don't do it. Wait until Saturday, because I can't. Yeah, I'm not going to try to hold on to a bunch of emails. I just don't have that's part of the problem with expanding. I've got to figure out a way to make this easier for myself, because I can't spend hours doing this and organizing it and all that crap. I don't have that kind of free time. So I need to figure out a way to do it, within 30 minutes to an hour's worth of time total spent. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Thank you guys. You're the best. Leona, met a young man a few years ago. He was 19 when he was a high-functioning person with autism. He had no sign, just seemed introverted. He was so cool. Said he healed himself with awareness. See, again, I think there's a lot to it. And then there's an example of someone definitely a change in their autism, right? So I love it. I think that's probably more the way that healing will occur. I love that. Good stuff. Love it. Christopher, thank you. Oh, so your daughter has chromosome 15 CUB deletion, couldn't walk, bones crooked, and couldn't talk. Doctor said no way. Now at 10, she walks, runs. Wow. That's so awesome. I love that. I love those good stories. Yep. So hold those thoughts. The parents of children that have some issues, hold the thoughts of goodness, and your kids will be them. So I hope everybody got something out of this. I know it's a little different show, but what the heck? Always fun. The End Radio Style. Do another one of these next weekend, and probably maybe a little live special thing for those of you that want to be a part of that. We'll see. But I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are the best. Until the next video, I bid you adieu. Namaste. I love you guys. Thanks. Bye.